Welcome to Chanakya, where you get the right guidance at the right time. Today I have a situation from Govind, which is often encountered by project managers just after winning a contract. I have with me two experts, Vasu and Shiv, who will dwell into what he could do under these conditions. Vasu and Shiv, welcome to the program. Yeah. Govind was involved in the solution development process as a likely delivery project manager. It was a multi-million-dollar deal, about $15 million. And Govind's BU head Vijay wanted to win it badly because it will establish his organization's credibility in the telecom market. Som was a sales head and he had a very simple requirement. He wanted to quickly close the transaction so that he can pocket his full commission and sales by the year end. Right? Govind had provided a solution with all the assumptions in the estimate to ensure that he can de-risk himself in such a complex engagement. During negotiations, Govind was coaxed to prune most of the padding that he had made it to make it winnable. Right? Som during the process verbally committed to the customer that Govind and his team will help the project meet all its objectives within the timeline. Vijay during the final negotiations agreed with Som and reduced the assumptions to make it even more generic. After the euphoria of the initial win, Govind is finding the customer taking a long time to clarify the requirements. Additionally, the customer is interpreting some of the generic items in the scope to a larger definition. And Govind notices all his initial detailed assumptions have been removed. Initially, Govind was very accommodative and went on with it for the first 10 weeks. Now he finds that the customer is unwilling to change the deadlines and he is also not able to get additional resources. The customer is getting annoyed with Govind, showing a plan that is 4 months into the future. And on top of it, Govind has caveated saying subject to risks in requirements. Som is obviously applying pressure on behalf of the customer through Vijay on Govind to deliver the project within the schedule. Govind and the team have been slogging for almost 6 days a week, 60 hours, right? And the team is now asking for a break. Shiv, how does Govind manage the expectation of this customer?
Govind has a tough job ahead. And I think it's not just the customer that he needs to manage in this case. It is also how he handles the internal customers, Som and Vijay in particular.
So, you're saying that it is beyond the external customer, but let us keep the focus first on the external customer. What can he do there?
See, one thing is to be disciplined in terms of at least recording and tracking all the communication with the customer so that he has a record of what happened between the customer and the project team.
Vasu, it looks like a good prerequisite to start with, but he still has a problem with the assumptions. What could Govind do with the assumptions?
Srini, building on what Shivguru said, I feel Govind should monitor and track all the changes with respect to the baseline estimate. Whatever changes he is making, if possible, get it approved by the customer, even if there is no charge associated with it. If there is a change which is happening because the commitment is different from the original estimation, then get an approval for the delta effort from your manager. So make sure that all of this is communicated to your customer, to the salesperson, and also to your manager. That's what I would say.
That's not the assumptions. Anything else you want to supplement which Govind should do?
Okay. The other thing he could do is to do a risk assessment right away. So he should look at all the risks and make sure that appropriate persons are assigned to deal with the risk and take ownership of the risk. One thing Govind should take care is, as a PM, he should not take responsibility of the risk or assign most of the responsibilities to his team. He should co-opt the salesperson as well as the manager to own up some of the risk. Other thing I see here is that there is a volatility in the requirements. So he, along with his leadership team and the customer, should work on a finite timeline by when the requirement should be frozen, the scope should be very clear. Once that happens, then he should rework the plan, revisit the risk assessment, and make sure that it's agreed and signed off.
That's very interesting. You're trying to say, make your boss own a risk. I had done it once. It was a very interesting situation I went through. Okay. Now, Shiv, in the beginning you had talked that it is beyond the external customer as well, internal. So what should Govind be doing with Vijay in this condition?
Yeah, like Vasu said, I think co-opting Vijay and explaining to Vijay what the situation is on the ground. Okay. So, if there has been a record of all the communication with the customers and there is enough evidence that there have been delays because of delays from the customer side, that will definitely aid his case. In addition, if he has information about how the team has been doing, okay, whether there are adequate skills, whether the staffing has been happening on time, or whether there are team issues in terms of morale, I am sure with all these changes, sometimes the teams also feel frustrated that whatever we do anyway is going to get changed. Take stock of all those things, explain to Vijay that against the original estimates, how the project has been progressing so far. Okay. So, this would also have, like Vasu said, a possible impact on the schedule, and at least look at whatever are the higher priority items or features that need to be critically delivered on the date promised. Explain to the customer that at least we can do that, your dates may not be compromised much, and see if there is another alternative.
Okay. So, since you have been talking of various stakeholders, I want to ask you one more question. Okay. What about his team? What role they have to play?
Oh, brilliant question. Okay. Yeah, obviously the success of the project depends on the team. Okay. Since you mentioned that the team is already burnt out, I am sure they need a break. Okay. So, let us give them a break. Okay. But in addition, I think it is critical for the team to be taken into confidence and explained what the situation is currently and why some things have happened maybe beyond the control of any of the team members, but still it is a commitment that the company has made to the customer. So, the team can come up with ideas of alternative implementations, or probably somebody else can probably stretch and contribute. I am sure once you get the team involved. For that, yes, the team building and bonding is very critical. So, when I said the team needs to take a break, it need not be just a 2-day outbound activity. Okay. I know that the project can afford it at this stage. It could also be simple things that they can do as part of their daily activities, something that promotes camaraderie and that reduces the tension in the team.
That's very interesting. So, Vasu and Shiv, I have been taking the notes along the way. I will summarize what you people said, right, for the benefit of Govind, right. Please chip in if I have missed out something. First, the PM has to address the expectation not just with the customer, but also his internal stakeholders. Ensure rigor in change management and risk management practices. Don't forget the boss. Get your leadership team to appreciate the situation. They can help you negotiate better with the customer. Finally, get your team actively engaged and helping in finding the solution under these trying conditions. Thank you, Vasu and Shiv, for sharing your insights. I am sure your experiential insights will be of value to people like Govind and others. Thank you for watching us today.